My name is Jolie. I work for a company that supplies vintage clothing. And that's how I decided to marry Felix, a guy I met there about 6 months ago. We dated for around a year, I think. He's 10 years older than me, but he's stylish and looks incredibly, and he doesn't look 38. But recently, I've started feeling a bit uneasy. In fact, Felix is really domineering and doesn't do any housework at all. I only started to realize this in the last couple of months. He has lived alone for a long time, and I have visited to his house a few times. He can cook and clean, so I thought there wouldn't be any problems. When we went to his parents' house to announce our marriage, I was a bit shocked he doesn't budge an inch, but I thought it might be typical for someone from his parents' generation. My dad also doesn't do much around the house, and my mom, housewife, did everything, so I lightly assumed that's just how it is. But I work too, and I had asked him to we will share the household chores. Of course, he did them for the first few months, but lately, he's stopped doing them completely. He makes an excuse that being busy and tired from work and not do anything at home. Of course, I was understanding at first because I know he's busy, but I'm just as busy with my own work. And then, we had a fight because of something he said. Hey, haven't we been having a lot of takeout lately? For breakfast, it's just bread and bacon, right? I want sunny side up for breakfast. I'm paying $200 more for groceries, so you could at least try harder with the meals. That made me snap. If you want sunny side up, you could just cook it yourself. Why do I have to do all the housework anyway? Can't you do the laundry, clean, or cook on weekends? We're both working, and I understand you're busy, but I'm busy too. Don't you understand that? Wow, suddenly snapping and being annoying. I just asked for sunny side up for breakfast, didn't I? If you know I've been busy lately, you should be the one doing the chores since you get home earlier. Huh? You say early, but I don't get home until before 8 p.m., and there's no way I can start cooking dinner then. Of course, I'd want to rely on some takeout. But I still manage to make and prepare meals in the morning, you know. Why do I have to get complained at when I'm trying this hard? I'm not really into takeout, you know. I like freshly food. Ready-made meals are just not as good, right? You should try harder for me, coming home every day at 9 p.m. Wait, are you even listening to me? When you were living alone, how did you manage your meals? Well, sometimes I made my own, but mostly it was Mom's cooking. What? Your mom's? But you were living alone, right? Yeah, but I lived just 5 minutes from her house and had a key, so she'd leave dinner in the fridge for me. Somehow, my mom's cooking still tastes good even when it's cold. It's good even reheated. You should become more like her, you know. Excuse me? I mean, cook delicious meals like Mom, perfectly handle cleaning and laundry, and take care of me. What? I'm not your mother, you know. You can do housework yourself, right? Why don't you? Well, I'm not saying I can't, but I was mostly taken care of by my mom, and I can't bring myself. After all, housework is a woman's job, isn't it? I've seen my dad not doing anything. That stuff should be done by you, a woman. The word divorce flashed through my mind. I didn't expect him to be such a man. We just can't communicate. I was beginning to regret getting married. No way. If we're both working, we're definitely splitting the chores. If you can't do that, please take care of your own stuff. I won't be doing your laundry or cooking for you anymore. And I'm not touching the trash you leave around either. Why not? I'm basically busy with work, so you should be the one doing it. Haven't I been saying that? Why don't you get it? Are you a bit crazy? I reached my limit of patience and slammed the table hard. The one who doesn't get it is you. Enough. Talking to you is exhausting. I'm gonna take a bath and go to bed. With that, I cleaned up only my plate and left the room. Sure enough, his plate was still there the next day, not even moved to the sink, but I suppressed the urge to clean it and left the house. We didn't talk for 3 days, but tomorrow, I'm going on a business trip abroad. We work for the same company, so he should know, but I left without saying anything. I had to stay abroad for about a week to buy clothes for our store. A week passed before I knew it, without any contact from my husband, and of course, I hadn't reached out either. My anger had cooled down, so I decided to have a proper conversation with my husband when I got back. I'm home. When I returned, my husband was not there, despite it being the weekend. I thought maybe he had gone out, but something was off in the room. Most of my husband's stuff were gone. The plate from our last dinner was still on the table. I was shocked at first, but then my shock turned into anger. A few days later, living on my own, I received a letter. I'm leaving for my mistress and our love child. Can't stand a wife who neglects household duties for days on end. The letter said, and a filled-out divorce papers were included. Mistress? Love child? Well, this is heading for divorce anyway. Saying that, I filled out my part of the divorce form and contacted my mom to see if she would be home tomorrow. I also contacted my older brother, asking him to come over to our parents' house the next day. Then, the next day, I headed to my parents' house. Hi, welcome. What's the matter today? Oh, Mom. I have a favor to ask today. Hey, Mom. Jolie called me over. So, Jolie, what's up today? Let's go inside and talk. My brother brought donuts, and I brought cake, so we had them with coffee. So, Jolie. What's going on? Actually, I'm thinking of getting a divorce. That's why I came here today to let you know. What? A divorce? Wait a minute. You just got married half a year ago, right? Why suddenly divorce? Yes, it's only been half a year. I know marriages go through a lot, and sometimes you need to persevere. Jolie, you're patient, aren't you? Is there another reason? It's no wonder anyone would be surprised by a divorce after just half a year. Actually, we had a big fight recently. It's not just because of the fight that I want a divorce. While I was on a business trip abroad, I came back to find Felix's things gone. A few days later, I received the filled-out divorce form and a letter saying he's going to his mistress and love their child. So, I thought I will divorce as his wish. I showed them the divorce papers along with the letter that was sent to me. Neglecting household duties? You were on a business trip abroad. How did you supposed to do any chores? The reason for your fight was... Yeah, on top of not doing any chores, he compared me to his mother. And after our fight, he did nothing, leaving the dishes just as they were. And then he tells me he has a mistress. I think it's better we get a divorce. As I spoke, I realized I was more shocked than I thought and started to cry. My mom hugged me tightly. If you can't live in your new home, you're always welcome here. Thanks, Mom. But I'll only ask for help if I really need it. If I rely on you now, it'll just prove to Felix that I can't live on my own. I need to show him that I can. I don't think he sent the divorce papers seriously thinking about it. But divorce isn't something you can take lightly. If he can't cherish our marriage or me, then it's better we part ways. But I'll probably be visiting home more often. Now that I don't have to take care of a husband, I'll have more free time. Hey, Jolie. Don't push yourself too hard. You can always rely on me too. We're siblings, after all. I also want to see Jolie more often. You're always welcome to come back home. Their warmth made me feel like crying again. But I decided to live strongly and left my parents' house with a smile. 2 weeks later, 2 divorce acceptance notifications arrived at my house. It seems Felix hadn't changed his address, as his mail was still coming to our place. The letter was probably sent to his mistress's address, but I had no intention of confronting them. About a month later, living peacefully, my doorbell rang. When I checked, there was a woman standing there. "Excuse me, who are you?" Could you open the door, please?" "I can't open the door for stranger." "Could you tell me your name or if you're related to someone I know?" The woman paused for a moment before answering. "I'm related to Felix." Hearing that, I was suddenly realized. This person must be Felix's mistress. When I opened the door, there was the woman, and to my surprise, Felix was standing next to her. "What? Why are you here?" "Well, long time no see." "Long time no see? You just left this house on your own. How can you show your face here?" Sorry to interrupt. We came here today to ask for something. Could you maybe have your argument some other time?" Thanks to the mistress cutting into our conversation, I regained some composure. "It's not really appropriate to talk about this here, please come in. We don't want to bother neighbors." So, I let them in and served a cup of coffee. "So, what brings you here today?" I turned to the mistress. "My name is Ellie. Felix and I were in a relationship 10 years ago. At that time, I got pregnant with his child. When I told him, he said he was at a crucial point in his career and wasn't ready for marriage, so he wanted me to terminate the pregnancy. But I couldn't bring myself to abandon the baby, so I decided to raise the child on my own. Felix and I parted ways, and I've been a single mother since. About 3 months ago, I ran into Felix, and all my old feelings came back. After spending a night together, I found out he was married. I was going to stop seeing him, but a month later, he showed up at my place with his stuff. I didn't know how he found out where I live. At first, he said he just needed a place to stay because of a fight with his wife, but then he just stayed. My child is in adolescence and my son is quite confused being suddenly introduced to a father. So, I'm here today to return Felix to you. I deeply regret spending that night with him. I didn't know about his marriage." "I'm sorry." Ellie finished her story calmly. "I see. But you don't need to return him. Please don't worry. You've done nothing wrong, Ellie. I admire how you've raised your child alone for so long. I no longer need this man, so you can live with him." At that, Felix stood up. "Hey, what do you mean you don't need me? We're still legally married. It's not about needing or not needing, it's about the fact that we are married. You shouldn't treat me like a pet." "What are you talking about? You left the house as you like while I was on a business trip." "As you like? It's your fault for neglecting your duties. You shouldn't be going on trips when you're married. Who's supposed to take care of the husband? Nowadays, unless a housewife, there is no wife to babysit their husband." Sorry to interrupt, does he always this domineering at home?" "He wasn't like this when we were together. Ever since he came to my place, he hasn't done anything around the house, doesn't even clean up his dishes. I started to wonder if he was always like this. I didn't know he was like this when we were dating either. But yes, that's how he is arrogant at home. Just because he contributes $200 more to the groceries, he demands better meals. I truly regret marrying this guy." "I see. He's been complaining about being tired from work and stressed by his wife, saying he couldn't move much. So, he's always been like this, huh? Me, stressful? That's a laugh. I'm the one getting all the stress here. Don't joke around, you mama's boy." "Mama's boy? Who are you talking to like that?" "Wait, are you a mama's boy?" "What? No, I'm not." "Come on, you totally are." "Ellie, did you know? This guy had his mom do all his chores when he lived alone. He even lived just 5 minutes from her so she could drop off dinner. Anyone would say that's a mama's boy." "Wow, that's awful. Why did I ever love this guy? I feel like I made a huge mistake." "Yeah, really. I think so too. Right? Felix, insulted by two women who once loved him, turned red with anger and finally snapped. Don't get cocky just because there are two of you, damn women. Julie, you should be grateful to have been married to someone like me. Ellie, you should be thankful I left my genes with you. If you keep it up, I'll make sure both of you won't be able to say anything. Wow, this guy is truly a bastard. Seriously, Julie, I'm returning him to you. No thanks, I don't want him either. Really? And so, both women looked at Felix with disdain. What's that about? Well, just wondering what you're gonna do now. I don't want you, and Ellie doesn't want you. Where are you gonna live? It's true, how are you gonna live from now on? What are you talking about? I'm married, so I'm going back to Julie. Why should I stay with Ellie? She's an ex from 10 years ago. Plus, she's aged, and there's a kid. Her place is too small. Excuse me? Ellie and I were furious in unison. That's your kid too. Sure, I was the one who wanted to keep the baby, but I never asked you for child support or recognition, so you have no right to complain. And then you just came into the house, do nothing, and act arrogant? Seriously, you're such a bastard. It's harsh, but someone like you has no value in living. Exactly. You talked about a mistress and a love child, but it's actually your ex and your behavior towards child is awful. If work was so important, you should have thought about contraception. Bringing up a love child now is just too convenient and creepy. I can't believe I married you. You are mama's boy scum. What are you saying? You don't need to say that much. I admit I did wrong by Ellie, but I don't think I did anything wrong to Julie. It's your fault for neglecting your household duties. Are you an idiot? Do you know how hard it is to do housework while working? It's enough taking care of myself, but having to babysit a fully grown adult too? It's torture. You've had your mom do everything for you, so maybe you don't get it, but if you can't take care of yourself, then earn enough to afford a housewife. Ellie said everything I wanted to say. Now, it's not just the man who has to pay for everything. Women can work too. Then, it's also a men have to do housework. Half the income and all the housework for women? There is no world which convenient for you. Felix became more and more deflated as he was berated by the two women. You don't have to say it like that. No, we do. Never thought you'd turn out to be such a scum. Really, I'll make sure my son doesn't turn out like him. Your son? That's nice, I want to experience raising a child too. Yeah, he's still a bit of a mama's boy. Hey, don't forget about me. Oh, are you still here? Don't enjoy yourselves too much. You're supposed to be wife and ex-girlfriend enemies. Oh, I forgot to say, but I filed that divorce form you sent. We're already ex-husband and wife. What? You actually filed it? You said your wife would cry and call you. I told you not to do it. Now what? Julie, what do you mean? Normally you wouldn't file that. And why didn't you contact me? If a husband wants a divorce, you'd normally discuss it, right? Well, you wrote a letter saying you're leaving because I don't do housework and attached a divorce form. It's like you're saying you want a divorce because I don't do housework. I can't live with someone who threatens divorce over housework, and I definitely don't want to continue being married. So, I granted your wish and filed for divorce. Here, this is the divorce certificate. You haven't changed your address, so yours came here too. What? What's this? Divorce is impossible. How am I supposed to pay rent and utilities? I rented this house, and we've been splitting costs except for groceries. I lived in a place with the same rent before we were married, so I can afford it. Utilities will be about the same since I'm alone. Having you is actually a waste of living expenses. You leave lights on and water running, and never turn off the air conditioning. In the past month without you, I've saved a lot on utilities and groceries. So, I can live just fine without you. Wow, exactly. My utility bills went up since he came. And he only pays for groceries, saying I'll leave soon so it's okay. But he's been here for over a month. I really want him to pay half the rent and utilities. But your place has your son too, so it's weird for me to split half. At most a third. You're 38 and thinking like that? That's seriously messed up. People at 38 are saving money too. That's not saving, that's being stingy. Not paying your share is basically fraud. You have to pay back the living expenses too, Ellie. Can't you see she's struggling as a single mother? Ellie's money is for her and her son, not for you. Pay her back quickly. Reluctantly, he pulled out his wallet. $800 okay? $800? Isn't that a lot? Does it really cost that much? Rent is $1,200, utilities $400, groceries $600. I actually wanted more, but you said a third, right? So, I guess $800 is fair. Come on, hand over $800. It's not like I'm living in luxury here. Sorry, I don't have $800 on me right now. I'll pay you back later. Huh? You're really going to pay, right? I said I'd pay. You don't trust him, right? I'll pay and advance it for now. We'll probably need to deal with each other in the future over household stuff anyway. I'll definitely be billing him. Oh, I'm sorry. But thank you so much. Saying that, I paid instead. Now, I think it's time we discuss Felix. What's going to happen with you? When are you coming to pick up your stuff that's still here? I never said I was leaving this house. Well, we're divorced now. I need you to leave. It's your fault for filing for divorce without saying anything, not mine. So, I'm not leaving. Huh? Give it up. The divorce has been finalized. You're the one who sent the divorce papers first. Just accept that you're the one who silently agreed to the divorce. If you didn't want this to happen, you shouldn't have written and signed those papers. Then where am I supposed to live? Not my problem. We're divorced. This house is in my name. You need to figure it out yourself. Come on, seriously? This place is close to my work, and I still have a lot of stuff and mail here. Changing addresses is a hassle. Jolie, please reconsider. Sensing my firm resolve, Felix broke down and cried pathetically. You've only ever thought about yourself from the beginning to the end. It's always me, me, me. No thoughts of fixing our relationship, sharing chores, nothing. I'm utterly disgusted. Let's decide on a day to meet soon, and take your stuff. And if you don't bring the money you owe me next time, I'll immediately consult a lawyer. Realizing he was truly disliked by me, he gradually lost his spirit. Okay, I'll come by next Saturday to give you the money and pick up my things. Saturday, got it. Then Ellie, can I stay with you for a while? I'll pay, of course. What? Are you kidding? Of course, I don't want that. My son is troubled enough, and I feel sorry for him, so please leave my house today. I came here today thinking I'd return you to your wife, but I'm shocked to find out you're already divorced. But it's absolutely impossible to keep you at my place any longer, so leave today, okay? Then where should I go? That's for you to figure out. All right, I guess I'll go back to my parents' house and look for a place to live on my own. With that, Felix left the house. I'm sorry for dropping by so suddenly today. And for everything else. But finding out that guy is a bastard somehow made things clearer for me. Thank you. No, I should be the one apologizing for my ex-husband causing you trouble. Hey, if it's okay with you, can we meet again sometime? I feel like we really hit it off. I felt the same way. Despite how we met, it seems like we could become good friends. Shall we exchange phone number? All right. Let's have tea together sometime soon. With that, the two of us exchanged numbers. I then went on as usual, informed my company about the divorce, and took care of various other matters. It was a busy period, so I hardly saw Felix at work, and with more business trips abroad, I had no clue what was happening with him. Then, one day, a female coworker asked me, "Hey, have you been in touch with Felix lately?" "Oh, sorry, I shouldn't be asking his ex-wife this, but his recent behavior seems a bit concerning. I've been busy too and haven't been in touch at all. We don't have kids, there's no need to contact each other." "What's been going on with him recently?" "Well, maybe it's because he's busy, but he hasn't been going home much, lacks clean and tidy. The women at work who used to say he was attractive are now saying it's becoming too much to handle." Really? I had no idea. It seems Felix has lost completely clean and tidy because his parents' house is too far from work for him to go home. Internally, I was thinking, serves him right. The guy who used to be the center of attention for being handsome is now being called creepy, you deserve it. Then, about half a year passed. Since then, Ellie and I have become as close as best friends. "Hey, I heard Felix's situation has gotten pretty bad recently." "Oh, what?" I'm all ears for Felix's misfortune stories. Apparently, he's been commuting from his parents' house because we're in a busy period at work and can't go home. He used to be praised for being handsome, but now he's turned into a smelly old man, and the female employees are disgusted by him. He couldn't stand it anymore, and also because he couldn't find an apartment, he recently quit the job. He's become so thin and has so many gray hairs now. It's almost pitiable. And now, nobody knows where he is. Wow, really? That's just too bad for him. Over coffee, we lightly touched on Felix's topic and then moved on to more idle talk. In the past 6 months, I've been on 2 business trips abroad and succeeded in my work. After Felix left, I was promoted to team leader. Now, there are plans to open an overseas branch, and I'm busy preparing for that. Despite the busy days, I've made time to meet Ellie. And have actually started dating someone, so I could spend productive days. My boyfriend is a Frenchman I met in Paris. We're in a long-distance relationship, and I plan to live in Paris next spring. Of course, with the overseas branch and having a boyfriend there, I feel truly happy about the future. Ellie cried because she will miss me, but she was genuinely happy for my happiness. I've also become close with Ellie's son, who seems quite sad about me leaving. I plan to visit Japan at least once a year, so I've decided to always make time to see Ellie and my family. Though the divorce was tough, realizing I can live on my own gave me a lot of confidence, so it wasn't all bad. Felix really irritated me, but now, he doesn't matter to me. My current boyfriend always puts me first, and I think he's someone I could marry. Life has its ups and downs, but if it ends well, then all is well. My life will be happy. Happily ever after.